Today, from India, a country that is home to 1.4 billion people, and out of this, 48.4% are women. When you compare this with the people who are making the main decisions, the ratio falls apart. There are just 14.39% women in India's lower house. The situation is worse in state assemblies. Merely 10% of the women hold the house. India is on a course-correct mission. The truth is that it has been on the journey for a long time now. But for the first time, it looks like a breakthrough could be possible. Moments ago, the lower house passed the crucial bill. Before we tell you the roadblocks ahead, let me explain what the bill brings to the table. It proposes that 1/3 or 33% of the lower house should be reserved for women, and the same rule should be followed by state assemblies and National Capital Territory of Delhi. These houses have reservations for the Supreme Court and Senate members. The Women's Reservation Bill will also cater to this. The bill proposes that the reservation will continue for 15 years. Seats reserved for women will be rotated after each delimitation exercise. Over to the next issue. Opposition parties are demanding that the bill should be implemented immediately. But one clause in the bill clearly says that it will only be implemented after the delimitation exercise and a census. The opposition has been specifically asking for caste census. They claim it will ensure reservation for women from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
महोदय, कांग्रेस पार्टी इस बिल का समर्थन करती है। हमें इस बिल के पास होने से खुशी है, मगर इसके साथ साथ एक चिंता भी है। भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस की मांग है कि यह बिल फौरन अमल में लाया जाए, लेकिन इसके साथ ही कास्ट सेंसस कराकर शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, ओबीसीज की महिलाओं के आरक्षण की व्यवस्था की भी जाए।
समर्थन नहीं करोगे तो क्या जल्दी आरक्षण आ जाएगा? तो भी 29 के बाद आएगा। समर्थन कर दो, गारंटी हो गई। फिर जो सरकार आएगी उसमें जो बदलाव करेगी वो भी होगा। एक बार श्री गणेश तो करो, गणेश चतुर्थी के दिन ये संविधान संशोधन विधेयक आया। एक बार शुरुआत करनी चाहिए।
These differences could repeat history when a bill like this has been tabled but failed to garner consensus. Both houses of the parliament need to pass the bill by a special majority. Then the Constitution Amendment Bill will require ratification by at least 50% of the states. Their consent is needed as it affects their rights. 14 countries already have a plan in place to provide reservations for women. Like in Pakistan, a 2002 amendment reserved 17% of the National Assembly for women. In Bangladesh, 50 out of 356 are reserved for women. Let's now talk more about this. Flavia Agnes is a women's rights lawyer and she's now joining us live from Mumbai. Flavia, welcome to the show. Maybe you can start by briefly explaining what's the history of this bill, and now that it has passed the Lok Sabha, what notable benefits does it hold?
This bill has a long history. It has been talked about since about nearly 27 years. There have been efforts since 1996 to have a reservation for women in the state legislatures as well as in the central parliament. So in 2010, the upper house passed a bill which, when Congress was ruling, but it could not be passed in the lower house.
Right.
And when the parliament dissolved, the bill left. So after that, when the present Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, came in 2014, within a few months, he made an announcement that he will work to bring this bill into effect.
Right.
But for 9 years, he didn't do anything. Now, suddenly he seems to have woken up and says that I will introduce the bill. And he has introduced the bill, and it has been passed in the lower house. But it's a long journey ahead.
There's a long journey ahead. Flavia, there's a long journey ahead, and we'll talk about it shortly. But I want to know from you, now that the bill has passed the Lok Sabha, I just want to know from you briefly, what is the benefit or notable benefit of this bill to the women folk in India, according to you?
At the moment, we have the very low representation of women. Now, we already have reservations for women, about 33%, some states have even more, at the local panchayat level and municipal council level. And that has brought in a lot of changes, and women have been empowered. But they don't have representation in the upper house, in the cabinet, in the parliament and state legislatures. And so they have no voice. So with this reservation, it is hoped that 1/3 of women, 1/3 seats will be reserved for women. But there are a lot of lapses in this bill, but at the moment I'm just limited to saying there'll be much higher representation of women that will take place.
All right, we've been talking to Flavia Agnes. She's a women's rights lawyer, and she has been talking to us live from Mumbai. Flavia Agnes, thank you very much for all your insights and for talking to WION World is One today. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.